Private investigator hired by former President Donald Trump's Georgia attorneys alleged more than 2,000 phone calls and just under 12,000 text messages took place between Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her special prosecutor Nathan Wade before he was hired. This morning, Trump attorneys Steve Sadow and Jennifer Little filed an affidavit in Fulton County Superior Court from Charles Middlestad. That's a 59-year-old criminal defense investigator who's now been hired to provide a voice call and text history for Nathan Wade. Wade and Willis engaged in a now acknowledged, I should say, a romantic relationship, but the couple claim that their relationship began after Willis hired Wade to assist in her investigation and subsequent indictment of Trump and his allies.
Cell phone data obtained by Trump's legal team shows Nathan Wade, that special prosecutor, visited Willis's neighborhood at least 35 times in the 11 months before Willis hired him in late 2021. Twice, Wade arrived late at night and left early the following morning. The data shows about 2,000 calls and 12,000 text messages between Wade and Willis from January to November 2021. Why this matters, the timeline is everything in this case. Joining me now on the phone is former Assistant District Attorney of Fulton County, Daryl Cohen. Daryl, thanks for joining us. We sat and watched as this hearing originally started. What do you make of these new revelations?
This is damning. At the very best, it's troubling. It seems to completely contradict the testimony of both Fani Willis and of Nathan Wade. And because of that, this could be a complete game changer in terms of how Judge McAfee decides to rule.
The timeline here, the timeline is extremely important. Get viewers up to speed about why this timeline matters.
Well, it matters because the testimony has been that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade became friends. They met at a conference, and he was hired before any of this took place, and that they did not have any type of relationship other than completely a business relationship. Now, if these texts and if these pings on the telephone are accurate, that changes the entire ball game and means that there could be some untruth that's been told under oath. In other words, it could be perjury.
When did your romantic relationship with Miss Willis begin?
2022.
When in 2022?
Early 2022.
So you were appointed in November of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And your relationship started early. What's early? January? February?
Around March.
Around March. But you two met at an October 2019 judicial conference, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That testimony directly contradicts earlier testimony from one of Willis's former good friends who said the relationship began well before Wade testified it did and predated his hearing by the DA.
You have no doubt that their romantic relationship was in effect from 2019 until the last time you spoke with her?
No doubt.
Did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Such as, can you give us an example?
Hugging, kissing, just affection.
All before November 1st of 2021, correct?
Yes.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
No.
You've never gone to a cabin with Miss Willis?
No.
Visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay. I don't understand. You must give me that. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my home in South Fulton, he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony.
How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to? That's one lie you told in your document. No.
Judge, I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question. I think she's saying and answering that he did not live with her, so why don't we break that up into smaller parts?
I didn't ask about living.
But you put in your, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents he lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
And
filed that with the court. Yeah.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive. I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher. I did not meet him when he taught the class. I was standing outside talking to Lisa Reeves, who is a judge. Me and her were just having a conversation. Mr. Wade walks up and they hug each other. They have some brief conversation. She introduces us.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. We kind of thought that when you asked the question, you didn't answer the question, not a speech, so I object to the speech.
I believe I'm able to explain my answers.
I believe she's able to explain her answers.
And that's
Ms. Merchant, that's okay. I can handle it. Ms. Willis, I'll ask you to listen to the answer, or excuse me, the question, and keep the answers confined to the question as best you can. I think you'll have more than enough ample opportunity on when the state.
Well, it's highly offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right. Well, Ms. Willis, you'll have the opportunity to explain all of that when it's the state's turn to ask more open-ended questions.
My words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.